Hello, I'm Eric Folks, and today we're talking about creating assessments in Eduphoria Aware. I'm logged in as a teacher. I want to show you real briefly the two different ways that you can create tests and the advantages and disadvantages to each. First, as a teacher, you will have a test tab. When you click on the test tabs, down at the bottom it has create a new test. In here, you can create a quick test key, which is probably the fastest because you're just putting in the number of questions and the number of potential answers. You can create a blank test, which means you'll actually be creating the questions in Eduphoria Aware. A little bit more involved because of the design layout considerations and actually putting in the questions. Copy an existing test if you've got one that you've already made. In the same tab, be it test or the other one I'm going to show you in a second, manage, you can copy an existing test. An item bank test is going to allow you to pull in WebCat questions as well as C-scope questions if they're available for your particular grade level or subject that you're dealing with. The test tab is going to allow you to create a test that is only available and viewable by you, the teacher. If you want to create a test that is viewable to other teachers, you need to do it in the Manage tab. So I'm going to click on the Manage tab. In the Manage tab, I click on Administer Tests. And you can see we've got all of different assessments, district assessments, campus assessments, both pending and active, that have been created by this teacher or other teachers. For their assigned role, in this case the middle school. But to create a new test, I'm going to go down here to create a test. We'll start easy and create a quick test key. Click next in the bottom right corner. You can see our progress bar down here. It takes a while to create the test, so you have to be patient. Title it. Set the grade level. Start date and end date is very important. The start date is going to be when it's available. It defaults to the day that you've created the assessment, but the end date is important because once this date has passed, then the test will no longer be available for printing out answer sheets and entering data and things like that. So you want to push that date back a couple weeks past the time you think you're going to administer the test to take into consideration absences and make student makeups and stuff like that. So I'm going to set January 31st. As a teacher, you want to always default to the campus assessments. You're going to associate your course. This is important because this is going to be how you pull in the standards. So since I've selected grade 7 science, those will be the standards that I can associate with my test questions. You can adjust the number of questions up here and the number of answers. I'm going to just go with 5 questions, 4 possible answers to each. As you might notice, the quick test key is a great test format in Aware if you've just got multiple choice. By far, these are going to be the easiest types of tests to create. Open-ended responses, gridables, and things like this are a little bit more involved. Notice when I'm entering the test key that it is optional. I can just go ahead and click next if I want and put in the answers after the fact, which is what we're going to do. So I can also show you how to select standards that go with your questions. Okay, it says you're done, but make sure that you click finish in the bottom right hand corner. Okay, and it will take you straight to your assessment. And you can see how we drill down to it. It is pending administration in 8th Science. There's my test. So you can see some of the basics right here. There's the course I've associated with it. Here are my actual questions. Now, in the questions, if you'll notice, I hold my mouse over the question, and you can see I can move the question up or down, and I can also go in and edit the question, and this is an important step. So I'm going to click on Edit the Question. I give it a second for the drop-down to show. Now I can put in actual answers if I wanted to, but most of the time it's just going to be A, B, C, D, or whatever the case may be. Since it's a quick test key, really what you're doing is just giving them an answer sheet with the number of questions and number of possible answers. So if you don't do anything here, that would be fine. They're just going to see A, B, C, D unless you actually start putting in stuff. So now, how do I associate standards with this particular question? I've identified B as my correct answer. So now I'm going to click on Standards. And it defaults to my student expectations. So I find the student expectation, click it. I select standard after I've highlighted it, important step. And now we can see the standard on there, and I'm going to click Finished. And once it processes, we can now see the standard and the correct answer for that particular question. And then I would move on to the next one. Now you can see the default is for it to alternate A, B, C, D, and then F, G, H. Then the third question would be A, B, C, D, and so on. If you don't want that to happen, you unclick the alternate and it'll go back to A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. Okay, under campuses, it's going to be defaulted to whatever campus you're assigned to as a test creator. Students, this is important because this is how you are setting up the test. If you are setting up this test so that other teachers can work with the test and you want them to be able to print out answer sheets, if it's created under the Manage tab, they're going to be able to work with the test. They can't delete your test, but they can add questions, change answers, and things like that. So we have to be aware of each other's tests and not be making changes unless we're making each other aware of that. But that's the risk that we run in sharing tests and assessments. Now, if I leave it selected teachers for printing, then the teachers that I choose are going to be able to print answer sheets for this assessment, but only the teachers that I choose. Which means if I wanted to print the answer sheets as the creator of this assessment, I would not be able to do it. If I wanted to be able to do that, I would select this option, students by homeroom or advisor teachers. It'll give me the same option for selecting teachers, but it will also give me the option of printing their answer sheets or the teacher. But I'm going to just leave it selected teachers for printing. Now after I've picked my teachers for printing, I'm going to click Save. It's an important step. I go to Administration, and notice this tells me when the test begins and ends. I'm allowing teachers to print the answer sheets. Notice Print Answer Sheets is grayed out here because I don't have the option of doing it because I went with Selected Teachers for Printing. However, once the test has been saved, I should be able to go in. I'm saving one more time. Maybe a redundant step here, but better safe than sorry. Notice the online testing path down here. We're going to have more on online testing in an additional video. So now I click on Analyze, and for any teacher you've selected on the Test Available tab, when you click on Test Available, it's going to show the classes that are, the assessments that are available, and give them the option of printing those answer sheets. But right now, my local assessment is not showing up there yet. So I'm going to go back into Manage, click Administer, Campus Assessment. It was pending, 8th, Science, erase me. I'm going to change it to Active. Waiting for it to process down below here. Save the assessment. And now I'm going to go back into my Analyze tab, click Test Available, and notice my test shows up, Erase Me. So I click on the test, gives me all the periods that I can choose to print answer sheets for. And as this has been covered in printing answer sheets video, I select the classes that I want to print for. I click Print Answer Sheets. And it gives me the option of just opening the PDF or saving it. I would encourage you to save it just in case you need to access it later on, reprint an answer sheet or something like that. It'll be faster than having to go back into Eduphoria and repeat the steps. So I'm going to save it on my desktop. And then I'm going to go in and open it. Now I can see each one of the students. Toby's having a brain fart here. But I can go in and I can zoom in and zoom out, but I can see each one of my students, the teacher assigned to them, and the number of questions and possible answers that we've got. Notice the barcode down here. This is specific to that student for that test, and it's how Eduphoria links the answer sheet to the right student, the right teacher with the right test. Very important that you do not scratch out a name and put in another student's name there, because all of it has been encoded down here at the bottom. So now I can scroll through here. You can see the changing names as I go down to make sure that all my students are in here. Now, every student that is linked to me as a teacher is going to be showing up here, assuming that I've selected their class, the class that they are in. And then print. You can print individual ones. I'm going print and current page. That would just print an answer sheet for page 10, Sebastian Johnson, or you can print all. But just realize how many potential pages you have when you're printing all of them. Okay, something important to remember. Once you have printed answer sheets for a particular test, it's going to lock that test. It's not going to allow you to make changes to the number of questions. The only thing that you're going to be able to change after the fact, now it's active, so I'm going to go into active. The only thing you're going to be able to change after the fact is the answer key itself. So let's illustrate that real quickly. Notice I no longer have the add a question option right here. And when I do my mouse over one of the questions, I click edit. Wait for the drop down. Notice the remove button just disappeared right here. I can't drop the question altogether, but I could change my answer or associate a standard. If we give it a minute, there's my new answer. Now, if I changed my answer key after the students have already taken the test and the tests have already been uploaded into Aware, that's okay. In the Students tab, once you click Save to save any changes that you've made to the answer key, you have a rescore button. The rescore button is going to allow the data to be changed up. I guess we're going to have to go in and actually hit change to a question that had an answer. We're going to change this. Save our change. You can see it processing down below. And then in the Students tab, now my rescore button is going to be live once we actually start scanning in answer sheets. It hasn't been scored once, so it's not going to give us the option of rescoring yet. But let's say we had already scanned in all their answer sheets. Once we make a change to the key, then this and save the change to the key, then this button becomes live, and this is how we would change the percent correct and the scoring of those answer sheets after the fact, after they've been printed. Okay, that's the basics of creating an assessment in Eduforia Aware. Again, most importantly, if you create a test or assessment under the Test tab, it's going to be available to just you as a teacher. If you create it under the Manage tab, then it's going to be available to other teachers as well for them to view and change and make adjustments to. The one thing they won't be able to do is delete the entire assessment. Only you as the creator of the assessment will have that option. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call or email me. You know where to find me. Thanks again.